Yeah, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Mary, please call the roll.
Vote. Pierce,
Here.
Luck. Here. Mattson.
Here.
Campbell. Here.
Let's
And
say,
I am online too.
Yeah, we got you, Amber.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
are there any changes to the agenda?
Yep, so, after the financial statements and before new business, number 46 will be patrons and others. We'll have a report from Job Corps, some Job Corps students.
Right. And that'll go right above 46.
Yeah, that will become the new 46.
Got it.
Number on.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so, waiver authorizations?
No,
Approve the minutes from the September 9th and September 30th special meeting. And that,
I'll make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
and all in favor?
Aye.
And approve expenditures A through C.
Make a motion to approve expenditures A through C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And 45 financial statements A through A. Or, yeah,
Make a motion to approve the financial statements.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so patrons and others, Job Corps, Derek.
Thank you. So yeah, I just want to give a quick kind of program update. Haven't been able to say much for a little while about it, and then nothing's set in stone yet, but trending in the right direction, I guess. We weren't able to admit new students for about 6 months. We are now admitting new students again, so that contract is up and going again. I think between the House and the Senate, I believe the Senate subcommittee recommended full funding of Job Corps for the next year. The House subcommittee recommended a 50% cut, which is a pretty big cut. But you know, the process goes, they're gonna have to work that out. We'll hope they go towards the higher side of it. But it looks like it, you know, at the very least, there will be funding for another year afterwards. The presidential budget hasn't changed. That's still zeros out funding. So just to see some funding coming from the two houses is encouraging. So headed in the right direction, hopefully. I was hoping that by now I might have something to actually say about it, but we'll have to wait till the budget gets passed before we'll know for sure. Which who knows when that'll be. So we are still funded through, fully funded through June 30th of this upcoming, so June 26th. And then we'll see what it looks like after that. But I just want to take a minute to kind of update. We do a lot of stuff over the summer. So I usually try and take the October meeting to just kind of highlight a little bit of what the students have been out doing over the summer months here. I won't go through all of this. You can kind of read through this here at your leisure. We're right there on the front. That's a whole bunch of students there that went out with the National Society of Foresters. They had a 2-day education program, and they went out and built a bunch of beaver dams to restore some habitat in the northern Black Hills. They did everything from, you know, installing new carpeting at the Wall Visitor Center and the National Grasslands Visitor Center. Tons of crews out fighting fires all over the country. And just a lot of awesome stuff. So please take a look at that when you got some time. I won't drag you all the way through it. But I did want to highlight a program that I think we've been working really hard over the last year. I brought a couple students to help kind of highlight that. Work-based learning has always been kind of an important part of our program. That last part where the students get a chance to put their skills to the test, get out, work a job for a little while, learn all those soft skills, employability skills, showing up on time, everything else. It's something we put a lot into this last year and tried to make sure that every student gets work-based learning experience. Built some great partnerships with the South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation These students get the chance to go out, work with a participating employer. Department of Labor Regulation pays their wages. They match it to whatever an entry-level employee would be. So if it's $25 an hour at Sanford Lab, when they do an internship up there, if that's what their entry-level techs make, they get paid 25 an hour. They can do that for about 3 months. And it works out great. So if we can line it up towards the end of their time with us, they get to make a lot of money, hopefully get to save a lot of that money so that as they leave, they're able to transition out, car, apartment, money to get them up and get it going, which is pretty important. Nice to have a car to be able to get to work, right? Then the other part of that is it's basically a 3-month interview with the employer. So if they want to stay in the area and the employers had a good experience with them, it's an awesome opportunity for them to transition into full-time employment with those workers. We've had a ton of them this summer. They've been working with McGaw Construction out on the shooting range that's being built. We've had about 7 students go through that, and I think 6 of them hired on and decided to stay in the area. Not all of them were from here. So it's a great program, a wonderful opportunity for our students. And on the high school part of it, I think we talked a little bit last week about that college and career readiness that's on the state report card. This is a big part of that career readiness portion. So for students to be rated career ready, they have to go through a certain amount of CTE coursework, and they have to have a capstone project. That capstone project, one of the easiest ways to do it is an internship or apprenticeship. This work-based learning counts as that. So covers a lot of bases. We've got a wonderful person heading it up. All of our students are getting a chance to do it. And then part of the school portion of that, for them to earn that credit, they have to do a reflection on it, think a little bit about what they learned, how they were as an employee, and then they have to come tell somebody about it. So quite often I ask them to present to either our student groups, people in their trades, to our management group. But I brought 2 students tonight that are graduating here in November. So coming up, and they have finished their work-based learning. So I just thought I'd give them opportunity to speak a little bit about it with you guys today. And with that, I'll turn it over to them. Keisha, if you wouldn't mind standing up and introducing yourself and just tell them a little bit about what you did.
The Job Corps from Sisseton, South Dakota. It's like up in the corner by North Dakota border. I came here for my high school and my driver's license. I have gotten my driver's license and I'm about 1.5 credits left. And for my work base, I worked at the YMCA in Rapid. I did mostly front desk stuff, filing, helping guests or my coworkers. Like I would bring stuff to the storage room, bring stuff back. When I first got there, the filing cabinet was a mess. It took like 2 days just to fix it. I came here with 19 credits. They definitely helped me a lot of back at home. A lot of my education didn't really help me, which is kind of just pushed me along, didn't really help me. They definitely stuck with me. And after I graduate, I plan on getting just a job, saving up, helping my boyfriend open a restaurant.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thomas?
Hello, my name's Thomas Stagnolia. When I came to Job Corps, I was coming from central South Dakota around Mobridge. I dropped out at 17, high school, just wasn't for me. I don't know, I mean, the school I was going to was all right, but I was a tough spot in my life, so I decided to call it quits. But about 2 months later, heard about Job Corps and I decided to give it another shot, my high school. So that's why I originally came to Job Corps with my high school. I'm 19 now, I've been there about 1.5 years. And my trade there is natural resources and wildland firefighting. I would say I've done 2 seasons so far with the Box Elder crew. Been to places like California, New Mexico, Arizona, I know this year, went to Alaska for 3 weeks. It's pretty fun. So I think once I leave Job Corps, fire is probably the thing I'm gonna go into. I'd say once I got onto Job Corps, I had 13 credits. And at first I was pretty unmotivated because it's a lot. But once I got into swing of things and the teachers there and the education department, they all helped me. I mean, I think that, I think high school dropouts, they should go to Job Corps. And it really has helped me. And yeah. That is.
Thomas is being a little modest. Not only did he go to Alaska, I think we look back, he was the only Job Corps student to ever go to Alaska. So that was a first, so we should be pretty proud of that. Did you go out with Tonka this year?
Yes, that's right. I forgot to mention that. In July, I went with Tonka Hot Shots for about 2 months. Went to Alaska with them, went to Colorado and Wyoming. And that's probably where I'm gonna be next year with those guys again. But yeah, it was pretty crazy from year and a half ago, 2 years ago, just doing enough of my life, and fast forward, I'm in Alaska, line fire.
Tom, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. We don't get, some people take advantage of every chance that they get, right? And it's very few that really take advantage of everything they can get. Thomas did a great job of getting all his schoolwork done, so he had the opportunity to go out and do this stuff. Put you on the spot as you transition out. How much you got sitting in that savings account to transition out with from all that fire that you did?
So I would say right now, I have around probably $28,000.
Yeah.
I made this year as a student at Job Corps.
Yeah.
I only did that because, I got my stuff done, so.
Yeah. And to his credit, he didn't spend it all, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Love hearing your
Yes.
stories. That's like
Awesome.
probably one of my favorite things is when you bring students to our meetings and we get to hear what you're doing.
It's a pleasure to get a chance to celebrate them, so they're awesome. With that, you guys can probably sneak on out of here. Thank you.
Okay, new business. So we have the the contract list. Yeah.
Yep, I'll run down it real quick. We've just got a few things. Certified substitutes, Betsy Silva. At $145 a day, and then at the $135 a day level, Tristan Jackson, Dominic Williams, and Maya Lucero. Classified substitutes, Tristan Jackson, Dominic Williams, Maya Lucero, Betsy Silva. Classified work agreement for high school paraprofessional, Andrew Sinna. Extra duty contracts, we have Carter Nelson, 9th grade basketball coach. And assistant wrestling coach, Makai Hayes. Teacher mentor contracts, Darren LaCroix.
Motion to approve the contract list.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And Consolidated Board of Equalization Resolution.
So this is the resolution that we'll sign tonight, and then they usually set meetings in March, and I'll bring that back later when they have set the dates. So we just need a
Need a motion? Entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve this strategic plan.
Okay, I think that was in the board packet, correct? So it's online. I made copies and they're sitting on my table
I
upstairs.
think you sent it to us
Yeah.
earlier in the packet. Yeah, you sent it to us earlier in the.
Oh, correct, yep. Okay. So do you guys have any questions on that or?
I'll make a motion to approve the strategic plan.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now I'll get that posted on the website to replace the old one.
And so item D, approve the 5-year capital outlay plan.
Okay, do we need copies of that, or have you guys had a chance to look through it?
Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the 5-year capital outlay plan.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And approve the new Digger Athletic Records Board.
I don't
I have.
know. Okay.
Okay, that was like, it's in here.
Yep, he's upstairs, probably line judging. So, it looks like, the board, including all the activities, was quoted by Quick Signs for $712. And, $624 was donated, from the class of 2025.
It's 624.
Yep.
So entertain a motion to approve
I'll make that motion.
the records page.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And approve the Rainbow Gas contract.
So this time, it's gone up, 39 cents. It's $3.43 for the fixed rate. They feel that that's a pretty good price with all the turmoil and stuff that we got going in the world, so I would recommend that we take that.
How does that compare to last year?
It was, 304. We've seen it as high as 9 something, so.
Make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And H, approve change order for the middle school project.
Okay, so we've had 2 change orders over there. One was, there was a roof drain that was draining into the sanitary. And we had to have that switched around so that it's draining down into the storm drain stuff. That one, I don't remember the exact price, $16,000, a little over that for that one. The other one was moving some data cables from the hallway. They ended up being below the roof line, so we raised them up above the roof line. And that one ended up being a little over $8,000, so.
How much did we budget for these change orders? Things like that.
It was like $174,000.
And how much of that have we used so far?
I think just these 2 that I'm aware of.
There's one other one too, but it was a pretty small.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think that was much.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So we're still sitting pretty low. Pretty
Yes.
good for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the change order.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Disposal of surplus property.
So in storage, we've got a lot of fairly decent sized stuff that's broken. And we would just like to get rid of it.
Shirt press is broken.
Yes.
I guess that's broken. It doesn't serve any purpose that, it's gonna be beneficial. I would say I'd make a motion to approve the disposal of surplus property.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Appoint a delegate for the 2025 ASBFD Delegate Assembly.
Well,
Who wants to do
who
that?
wants to do it?
I can't do it.
I think it's November, oh yeah, you're already on the board. So it's like November 21st.
So if you happen to be heading East River for deer season on the 22nd, it's right on your way.
Jody? Are you?
I'll do it, sure.
Oh, I just thought you were heading,
Heading that way.
go shoot a deer.
Yeah. Eat turkey. All right, so we would need a motion for that, or no?
No,
No,
it's just
okay.
a point of person.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Chairman can appoint.
The first reading on lunch policy EFC to amend the policy that was adopted on January 16th of 2024. So I know you had some
I
points
have
on
some
that. Yep.
points on it, but did you want to say anything before?
I can
I
say
didn't do it? Okay.
This was the one that you adopted in January of 2024. So our food service application that we have to do annually, this policy addresses how we have to answer it. So we needed more clarification.
Mhm.
In 2019, when we had our administrative review, this is pretty much, I mean, we added more language to this. I just incorporated the one that, Assembly in, January 2024 incorporated into this one, so, that's why we need more clarification on it.
See, I think I might have missed this. Do I see in here where it says that our original policy says that students will not be denied a lunch? Do I see in here where it indicates that as well?
Yeah, because that language was kept.
It's in the first paragraph.
Okay.
It says students will not be confronted by school staff about outstanding lunch balances, and a student will not be denied a lunch due to an outstanding lunch balance.
Okay, I have 2 points, that I would bring up for this purpose. One, I really disagree with us not allowing students to purchase seconds because they have a negative balance. I understand the concept behind it, but I also think that a lot of times our students with negative lunch balance are probably the kids that need it more. And so I really struggle with the concept of us not allowing students who are hungry to not go up for seconds. So there's that, or indicating that they're hungry, why they want seconds. 2, I also have an issue with it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paragraph 6, where it says that may progress to using the courts. I disagree with using the court system to try to get some of that funding back. I understand the concept behind it. I understand that, as much as I disagree with it, that we're not in a position to be able to offer free lunches to everyone. I do struggle with that language being in, this policy. And I would also go back to that 2019 conversation where the discussion was had about, turning over accounts to collections. And, I found a couple of articles that really address, how the public felt about it, and Tim, you were on the board at the time, so maybe you can address that a little bit more, but I remember as a resident, people being a little bit, upset at the idea of us sending school lunch accounts to collections at that time, and I feel like that's kind of the road we're going down with this particular policy if we don't make some minor language adjustments.
Would you speak to that, Margie?
What do you think the option should be? Because we do send letters and there's no, we get no answer from them and their account just grows.
Right. My biggest issue is just the fact that it says that progress to using the courts. I disagree with it. I understand that it's probably not something that's gonna be changed. But I also want to voice my opinion that I think that we shouldn't be using the courts to get money back for lunches. We shouldn't be feeding kids.
General fund should pay for that.
That's what it's gotta be. At the end of the day, you know what, you do have some families, and it's addressed in some of these articles that I found about it being those smaller balance amounts. And if it's those smaller balance amount, and I guess that would be the other piece of it too, and I don't think it's anything that needs to be addressed specifically here, but I think that, you know, if it gets, if it's below a certain amount, obviously, you know, you're not going to turn it over to collections, and then if it exceeds a certain amount, then that's where you're gonna be looking at that, I would assume. At least that's kind of what I'm understanding based on, my own reading that I did. But I really struggle with taking families who are already struggling, and now let's send them to court because they didn't pay for their kids' lunch.
So I agree with you, Lexi, that it's just really, it leaves a bad taste, and these are some conversations we've had internally at the administrative level, that it just leaves a bad taste, taking people to court to get a lunch balance, paid for. But I think that there are cases where it is appropriate. And by a matter of practice, in fact, in the last several years, of course, that's why I think our outstanding lunch balances are like, or isn't it something like $30,000? It's
About 20,000.
20,000, okay. And it's kind of a big load there. I guess I haven't, you know, like our policy in the past, you know, this had been our policy until we updated with the more abridged one. And then even since then, like I guess I've never taken anybody to court since I've been here over these. But also I have to ask myself, am I being a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars? And as a matter of practice, we've had a lot of discussions at the admin level that if a family is willing, like when the principals make that phone call, and I guess you guys have heard me say this several times, maybe I should, do you know where I'm leading you? Do you know what I'm about to say? Jay, say it. I don't know.
That we're willing to work with them if they're willing to make a payment.
Yeah, I think that's the, like, we just tell these guys over and over again, hey, when you make that phone call, and it even says in the letter, like in the lawyer letter that they get, like if you are willing to work with us and willing to communicate with us, we'll be very forgiving and we'll work with you. Yeah, if somebody is trying to make payments on this thing, and even if they have a huge, you know, and we do sometimes give people with like a $500 balance, $1,000 balance.
2,000, 2,500, and there has been no payment made for 3 years.
But if we have somebody like that, even if they have a big payment, a big balance like that, but if they're if they're making a payment and they're making a good faith effort, like we're not gonna keep harassing them. Like as long as it takes, we're willing to kind of float them that way. But we've also had some families that more or less flaunt it at us that, well, you're not gonna do anything anyway. And so.
And I know that there's been students who would qualify for free and reduced lunch, but for some reason the parents don't apply for it. How often is that an issue?
I have made calls because we have the 30-day grace period. If they filled out an application last year, they have 30 calendar days. So it was up September 25th of this year. And I made calls. And I'm not gonna fill it out because my child packs lunch every day. So, I mean, that's the response you get, but I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we have families that pay, you know, when these emails go out weekly, if they have a low balance, they make payment, and then there's just those families that continuous calls to them and there's nothing. And even in the first policy, it states that, you know, you adopted in 2024, it states on that as well. So that's what's in right now.
In policy now, right? Like I said, I mean, my main deal is, I understand that we're not necessarily, in a position where we can just float this forever. But at the end of the day, kids need to be fed. I love that our policy specifically says that we're not gonna deny a meal. But at the same time, I also think that, let's look at the kids that are in this position. And let's look at, the situation. If you're dealing with a family that has other things that are probably more important than having a school lunch balance going on, I think that using the courts to try to get back that money is.
Well, and I think too, Lexi, I think that if, when we make that contact and if those parents kind of tell us their situation, I mean, we've, we all have heart and we're gonna work with people on that. The other thing is, about like the seconds of, ultimately we'll do whatever the board decides to do. The policy will be what you guys decide. But I will say this, I think that that's a pretty standard procedure, to not let them buy à la carte things, not let them buy seconds. But if a kid comes up and gets a meal, whether they can pay for it or not, we're letting them have a meal. And then they can go back to the salad bar as many times as they want. That's pretty unlimited.
If they're still hungry, they just can't get the main entree. They can go back to salad bar and get as much as they want if they're still hungry.
And some people don't know what it is to be hungry. I've had a time in my life where, I was pretty hungry. And if somebody would give me a free apple, I would take that, and I think that our policy and our people do care for kids. And your point is well taken, but.
I have some questions. What is your time frame on,
We're not in.
you're not taking questions?
Well, it's up to the chair, I guess.
What did I do?
I think it's bad practice to let the public chime in.
Okay, so we have to wait until after administrative reports,
Okay,
and then we can do public forum.
that's okay.
Okay, save your question.
I think once you start doing that,
Yeah.
then your
then we
meetings
open
are
up-
just.
Yeah, then we'll
Totally
then
fair.
we'll open up the bag of worms.
And the reason I bring it up is I struggle with that concept. I understand that the district needs to do what the district needs to do, that way, but that is, I've always disagreed with this. Amber and I have had that conversation well
Yeah.
before I was ever on the school board about my feelings on that. And that's, my entire issue is with the idea of it potentially being taken to court. Like, taking somebody to small claims over a lunch bill.
Well, I think if you don't, I'll just say this, and like I said, whatever the board decides is the policy, that'll be the policy, and we'll gladly carry that out. If you don't have it in policy, then it really ties your hands, and I think the way it's written is that it may be, and as I say, I've been here 5 years, we haven't in that time taken anybody small claims court, so.
And we did have our lunch balances paid down to 0. And now they're back up there, back up at 1,000.
And
Well, now part of that got paid down because there were some organizations that helped pay.
It was in the paper and we had several donations and we still get Angel Fund donations to apply to the accounts as well.
And I think if we, and I don't, as far as the court goes, I think it doesn't hurt to have that tool in the toolbox if you want to use it, knowing that we'll probably never use it, but that it's there. But I think it'd be good to, if organizations and people know that we have this issue like we did last time, people are willing to come forward and help out. And I think sometimes we just need to make that need known.
That we have a $20,000 lunch balance that's sitting there, that
Well, and part of my issue with that being the language is that, okay, maybe no one here is gonna actually, go that route. But what about when we're no longer here and that policy is still there? It enables it.
Kind of like at Walmart, do you take your shopping cart back if nobody's looking? No, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm just sorry.
So, and like I said, I know we're not taking action on this tonight, but I wanted to make my feelings on this particular issue clear. Most of the language in it, I don't have an issue with. The part I do have an issue with is the courts.
Would it help if it said something like to the effect that that the district may, the district may pursue, I don't know, is there some other language that would suffice, or?
Is there any circumstance that we'd actually would go to court?
I can think of some, and I, you gotta be careful not to use any identifiable one. There was a case that was pretty, we felt pretty egregious. And we didn't take them to court, but that was one of the ones that's like, yeah, this person probably should go to court. And then eventually they did come pay it. But I think that there could be some, but really like we try and exhaust all other efforts and really work with people.
So then when they graduate, I mean, when they're seniors, their account, their balance has to be paid off.
Amber would like to speak.
Oh.
Go ahead, Amber.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to, I mean, I know where Lexi's coming from, but when it comes down to it, the policy says may. We have the choice if we do it or not. I think policies are in place for a reason in case we have a situation that comes up. But in this case, it's not saying we're going to. It's just saying we have the option to.
Yeah, and that's what I feel that way too, that we have to have that policy in there to cover, if we do need that at some point. And Lexi and I discussed that, because sometimes we agree to disagree, and it's okay.
Could some language work that say something like, delinquent balances on meal accounts? The district may seek legal remedies. Or is that basically saying the same thing?
Well, I think that line up here where it says may progress using the courts. You just maybe want a different word than courts, right? Like using legal action.
I'd have to think on that a little bit. I mean, I think that legal remedies, is essentially saying the same thing. But I think that, with your wording, if you want it to essentially indicate the same thing without state courts, you also don't want it to be so vague that it's not enforceable.
Right.
I'd have to think on that one,
Okay.
but I just, like I said,
Yep.
kids need to eat. That's my bottom line.
I mean, kids need to eat no matter what, and it does say kids are eating.
Right.
And the other thing I think that this policy what we really try to do with this policy is separate, like we try and make the lunch bill a parent problem, not a kid problem.
And I agree with that.
We do say in there that we're not gonna turn away a kid, and there have been school districts that
Yeah.
have shut off that pipeline, or they'd say, you know what, you can have a peanut butter sandwich, like, we're not doing anything like that, we're not trying to humiliate kids. We're really, it's not the kid's problem if the parent can't pay the lunch bill or won't fill out the form to apply for the free and reduced, or it's not the kid's problem. So.
Anything else? No? Okay, so anything else on the lunch policy that we didn't go over?
It's just the first reading.
Okay. Okay, so then 47, administrator reports, superintendent's report.
Okay. Look through, I've got a few things here. So Amber Deers and I met with some folks from the Deadwood Chamber, as well as the mayor of Deadwood, and we kind of talked about, we've got and we talked about that, I think, in our last meeting or in the strategic planning meeting, maybe it was, where there seems to be a little, I don't know if friction is exactly the right word, but just scheduling conflicts with School Deadwood nights next year and our start date of school. And I think there's some misunderstanding that some people misunderstand that start date of school is kind of an arbitrary thing. And, so when Amber and I went and met with those folks, we talked about, because nobody wants to have open container in front of the elementary school when school's in session. I think everybody agrees on that. The chamber agrees on that. The business owners agree on that. But then also they have, you know, it's their livelihood, they have businesses to run. We also have a school district to operate. So the initial ask was for us to move our start date of school back a week or even until after Labor Day. Because the way the calendar is being pushed, the Sturgis rally is being pushed back a week. And then if they don't push Lead-Deadwood nights back, they'll be back to back. And it creates a little bit of a hardship for city workers and for hospitality workers. And so that's kind of the rub. And we had a really good meeting. It was really productive. And one of the compromises that came out of that was perhaps I think they agreed to do it. I think on like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of Lead-Deadwood nights, which would in 2027, I think that will become, that'll be the first week of school as our calendar rolls over. I think next year, it's not, our first week of school is gonna be before Lead-Deadwood nights, right? Is that the way it sounds?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So anyway, they would push the start time of open container back to 5 o'clock. Go 5 to 10 with open container rather than 10 AM or noon. And then they would really like to have Friday, to be able to still have the earlier hours. So we talked about in 2027, maybe we could adopt a calendar that would have either a noon release on that Friday, or maybe don't have school that Friday. And we've kind of talked too internally that having a shorter school week, that first week might be an okay deal. So, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue this as me saying this is what the calendar is gonna be, because we've got quite a process we go through with that. But like, one way that could look in 2027 is maybe in service on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are school days. And Friday is a day off, and then like the following Monday would be Labor Day. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would give like Labor Day would be like a 4-day weekend. They could have their open container earlier. Kind of everybody's happy that way. The other thing we talked about is, could you just move the sign on that side of the street instead of having welcome to Deadwood Elementary, open container at 10 AM.
Yeah.
Like, the signs are literally one in front of the other.
Yeah, crosswalk.
And they were kind of like, oh, yeah, like maybe we could put it between the Franklin and the school. We're like, hey, there you go. That'd be great. So, you know, it was, like I said, it was a productive meeting and there were some things. And even like today, I was at the chamber meeting and I kind of got, you know, like we were talking about this issue and everybody said, yep, we had a great meeting. We kind of agreed on some things. And then we had another chamber member bring up, you know, like we need to go back to starting after Labor Day. Why can't you just? And then this person said, well, do you have any research that says it's better to start when you start? And I said, well, no, we don't have like any peer reviewed research on that. Just like if we would ask these business owners around this table, you know, why don't you just close your bar at midnight instead of 2 AM? Well, we don't want to do that because we'll lose revenue. Do you have any peer reviewed research that will say that? Well, no, it's operationally, there are some things that you know work well for your operation. And that was kind of the analogy I used. And I think it connected, kind of went okay. So I guess my point is we're going to try and collaborate a little more with the chamber and with the city on some of those things. But I think we've also kind of made the point that the school kind of has to do what is best for student learning. And that's what the way we're going to operate. But if we can make some tweaks here and there, that would help us work together. We're willing to listen to that, willing to do that. One thing I would like the district to consider, and it's not, I didn't make any promises, but I know like the Meade School District adopts a 2-year calendar. And like the chamber thought that would be kind of helpful if we would adopt a 2-year calendar. Then they would be able to plan and forecast. And I said, we can certainly talk about that. And I kind of explained to them too what our process is and that kind of thing. So any questions on that?
I wonder if, I mean, they want this, you know, idea of research and starting earlier. I mean, no, we don't have the research, but I wonder if we couldn't use something anecdotal, like, hey, you know what? This was our average test scores taking semester tests after Christmas break versus last year when we went to doing them before semester test breaks. You know, or I mean, before Christmas break, did that increase our overall test scores? Cause that could also explain to them, like, this is why it's important to do our testing when we do it. Because it's about our kids, it's about their learning. And their performance and examinations and, you know. Improving grades.
I think that's some data that we definitely need to look at,
Mhm.
where I'm a little cautious about bringing that to that conversation.
Mhm.
Is because then that kind of opens the door that now we're bartering about how the school does our business.
Sure.
Like, I don't walk into Saloon 10 and tell them, when I walk into Saloon 10, I maybe order a Coke and that's it. I don't,
We don't.
like, I don't tell them
Sure.
how to serve it or when to serve it or, you know,
Put 6 ice cubes in there.
yeah, I think that we,
Okay.
I don't think we want to open the door to debating. And of course, it's a little different because we're a public entity.
I
But
guess my thought process with that is, you know, if you're gonna sit there and try to pull this with us, as far as, you know, well, you guys need to start later because that's what's more convenient for us. Well, we're also trying to take our students into account, and many of those students have families that work in the hospitality industry as well. You know, and they also, you know, your kids are being educated here too. We want to give them the better opportunity,
Right.
you know, their success.
And another thing that is really hard, like you don't really need a study to argue the point is, like at the high school, when you have semester classes and you have a American government class in the fall semester and one in the spring semester and they're the same class. You know, you're offering it, like some kids take it in the fall, some kids take it in the spring. Well, already we have a disparity of 10 days between the two semesters. If we push our start day a week back, then that pushes our end date a week back. So that takes 5 days away from this semester and adds 5 days to the other semester. I think, according to my math, that's an additional 10-day disparity. So now we're gonna have the same class for the same credit, teaching the same standards. That is, one of them's 20 days longer than the other. That's a month. That's a month of school difference in those two classes that are supposed to be the same.
Well, maybe that would be the conversation that we have instead.
And we did share that.
Yeah, they were really receptive with that, because they kind of had that education background for a couple of them, so they had like a teaching background to understand how important those classes were. So they.
Yeah, and I do want to stress that it's like, and I get a little fired up about it because I'm something I really believe in.
Right.
But I really want to stress, it was a good cordial
Yeah,
meeting.
right,
And
right.
there was a lot of listening on both sides and so. And then also on the Deadwood Events Committee, this is something that came up from conversations, I think with the Ambers and with Lexi. You guys brought up having a representative on the Deadwood Events Committee. And so we're gonna cover that now every month with either Amber, Zach, or I will attend those meetings every month. So we have presence there, and we kind of like to make Zach go a lot of the time because he's really tuned into the events and the calendar, more so than I am, or, you know, Amber's tuned into everything. So, I guess that'd be all right too, but one of us three will cover those meetings, and they're really receptive to having that voice there. I guess this is kind of a fun one. You guys got this. See, like we can, I don't know where we'd hang it. Maybe.
We're gonna have to get
Right.
that.
So, congratulations to our board, and you get that gold level award based on, and you can see not all of them are gold, but most of them are gold. And the different levels, you know, there's gold, there's silver, and then I think there's just brown. Just the wood, no. But I know there's gold and silver, and that's based on your board's participation in educational opportunities and that kind of thing. congratulations to our board achieving the highest level of gavel with Associated School Boards. Our Culture and Branding Committee is kind of working on something, and Jamie and Zach and I kind of working on like a district update mailer that we're gonna send out to our patrons. And it's a little bit, it's not really a recruitment type letter, but it's more of just an update for our taxpayers, for our patrons, people that may not necessarily have kids in school, kind of telling some of the positive things that are going on, and a little bit about just some things about the school, what our budget looks like, some things like that. So that should be coming in the next, month and a half or so.
Hopefully, yeah, in the next.
Hopefully before Christmas time, that'll get mailed out. So kind of watch for that. And then I've got a little lengthy update on our land use committee. This is, I apologize, it's gonna take a little time here, but there's kind of been a lot going on. And so go ahead and pull that up on my computer. So I have my notes, and I guess one thing, it's really exciting, working with this project, and we've had a committee of some very involved, community members and people that are in kind of a variety of industries, like construction industry, housing industry, Emma from the economic development has been a part of that. Anyway, the committee has really studied ways to utilize the resource of the school land to help some of our staff housing shortages, as well as our, maybe our enrollment issue with lack of reasonable or available housing. And it's been really tough. I'll go through kind of some of the things that the committee has accomplished. And then I'll also kind of go through maybe what some of the next steps are, as well as maybe what some of the barriers have been. And so one thing I guess I'll say, and this became evident today, we were up there, Bill and I had a meeting with some folks from the city, because we were looking at, how feasible could some of the utility connections be on some of that land. It's got some challenging land. And so we were up there going through some of that. We had some people from Terrasite Design. One of the guys is a civil engineer in there, and kind of going through all that. Well, then we had some neighbors, people from the community stop by and kind of join our meeting. And they gave us their opinions on, and basically, we've had a lot of positive feedback. People are glad that we're doing this, or that we're pursuing this project, looking into this, and hey, it's really a need. And then there are some people that live right in that area that don't want any additional houses in their area, and they feel very strongly about that. And so I guess I want you guys to, I always want to be transparent with the board and with everybody. And I want you guys to think about some of that stuff, because there will come a time where we've got to kind of decide, if we're going to put some resources into this. And we're kind of getting to that tipping point where to really move forward, we do have to expend some resources. We'll have to expend some resources there. Well, the question will be, will we believe in the project enough to face the people that are unhappy about it? Because it feels pretty good when everybody tells you you're doing a great job and it's a great idea and all that. Well, that's not everybody's opinion. I would say probably in the community, from what I've seen, that's probably a majority opinion. But I think, honestly, there are some people that, it impacts their neighborhood, and so they have strong opinions. So just kind of going down a list, what's been done so far. If you recall, we formed a committee a couple of years ago to study the problem, make some recommendations. And again, the main problem is we've got over a third of our staff that live outside of our school district, okay? And nothing wrong with that, it's a free country, people can live where they want to live. But I think we have a number of those people that if they had the option, a more affordable option, would probably live in the district where they teach, or work. Also, along with that, we have experienced, and this is kind of anecdotal, I don't have hard numbers for you, but the principals can either say I'm full of baloney, or they can say, yep, we've experienced that, but we've had situations where we've offered employees contracts. We can go through the interview process. We get down to, this is the person who will be the best teacher, for this position, offer them contract, and within 24 hours, they call back and say, I started looking at real estate. I can't afford to live in your district. There's just no way, you know? And so the problem the committee has started to look at is, if the school had somewhat of an inventory of homes that we could rent to these people, to kind of get their foot in the door, because I think we all agree that if you really want to live in Lead-Deadwood, and if you're patient, you can probably find an opportunity. But when you have to find that opportunity in the next 2 months before your job starts, that maybe isn't sometimes enough time. And so if we could have an option that we could, that's attractive, we could rent to people as we hire them, and maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, but so that they can get their foot in the door and find an opportunity to live in the community. Also, the committee believes if we could just increase the overall housing inventory, at a reasonable price, and it's just so far out of whack. I remember when I bought my first house, 30 years ago, it was $100,000, and it was just 2 blocks from McKinnon Park in Sioux Falls, which is a pretty nice neighborhood. And I remember like some of the older adults in my life were like, how in the heck did you buy $100,000 house? Like, I'm like, wow, I don't know. Things are going well, you know, I make almost 20,000 a year, you know. It was, yeah, I don't know, but, so now it's hard for us to wrap our heads around some of these numbers that are out there right now. When we start talking about affordable or reasonable housing, and we're talking about $500,000, for a family, a 2-income family, it's hard to wrap our heads around that, but that is where it's at, and that's where it's heading. And so, those honestly are some of the price points we're probably looking at. Anyway, so committee was formed to study the problem, make recommendations. The committee vetted potential uses and ideas for the school district land, to meet specific goals. And that is, we don't want to increase the inventory of, vacation homes, or short-term rentals. That's not really what we're looking to do. We're looking to increase the inventory of homes for school employees and families that would potentially have kids in school. The school board set a direction for the potential use of land. You might be saying, we did? We said, yeah, we did. The board also gave guidance that it does not want to just sell the land or dispose of the land, unless there's strong and reasonable assurance that the sale will substantially impact staff housing, and student enrollment, and boosting the housing inventory. I think that's kind of been the will of the board, even as the board's turned over a little bit. I think we've all kind of agreed on that, yeah, we could maybe do something with that land if it's gonna do this. But if it's just like, we're gonna get X amount of dollars, and then it's gonna be more vacation homes or whatever, and we're not really interested in that. And we can just sit on it if we need to. The school board has agreed to explore the sale of 2 to 3 acres of land, to Black Hills Energy for a substation up there near the water tank, that would serve this potential future development. And really, we're being told that would also serve, existing customers, for more reliable service. And Tim, you know kind of how that works. I think, is that sound like that's an accurate statement?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And proceeds from the sale of that land of the substation could be utilized, to take on some of the design or site work that we're looking at, like for instance, doing some surveying, that we've kind of got that lined up, and we've got, money in the current budget, about $50,000, and we're hoping not to spend all that, but, anyway, we're in the current budget to get the surveying done that we're doing. But then also that land that could be sold to Black Hills Energy could offset some of those costs or even some future costs. So that it's not just a constant thing on the taxpayers as we work to. I guess the other thing I would add too is, I think the importance of exploring this, and in the end, we may decide this isn't the right thing to do, but I think the reason we're exploring this, it goes to the viability of our school district. You know, talk about, our decline enrollment. We talk about some of the difficulty just in general in hiring staff, not just our school district, but everywhere. And I think that, you know, if we had done this, you know, if we'd had a crystal ball, and we did it 20 years ago, I think our district would look a lot different now. But the old saying is the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And that's kind of what we're looking at now. The school board administration has worked with the city of Lead to annex the entire property. We have that done. So it's all within the city limits. Makes it a lot simpler than some in the city, some in the county. Land use committee explored options for developing that land through an RFP to developers. And we kind of found out that, and that was really good, in kind of solidifying what our goals were, what our approach was gonna be to this. And in the end, we kind of figured out that RFP thing just wasn't, because at the end of the day, we have to sell the land to the highest bidder. And, regardless of what other criteria we have, that's what the law is. We've had a master plan drawn up by TerraSite Design. They did a lot of in-kind work, or a lot of, I guess I'd say pro bono work for us for, designing a master plan with, 54 plus lots, proposed roads, proposed utility hookups and all that. So we kind of have a master plan that the developer could use to take it to the next step. The administration of school and a school board representative have worked towards, doing a boundary plat. And that's some of the surveying that's coming up. So, like I said, we have money budgeted for that in the current fiscal year. And that's kind of in the works and getting scheduled right now to get that boundary plat set up. And there's gonna be different phases. And one of the big things, that we'll talk about here, we've got challenges and obstacles. The big picture thing of doing 54 different lots and all these roads and all this stuff in there, might have to be on hold for a little bit. And I'll get into a little more of that here just real shortly. And then we've also, worked towards, in addition to that boundary plat, preliminary and final plats for a number of lots, like 6 to 8 lots initially, that could have houses on them in the next 2 to 5 years, if we would take those steps. And those would be some of the immediate staff housing needs. And then we've also drafted covenants, that are gonna be, recorded on the land. And that's gonna be kind of how the mechanism we would use to ensure that, the land gets developed per our wishes. And, you know, keeping the vacation rentals out of there and making the type of neighborhood, that's gonna be conducive to families and staffers. And then we've also pretty extensively explored, options for utility hookups. Now I'll talk about like a little bit of the challenges we've encountered. In addition to the RFP thing, kind of not working out. Another big challenge is, you know, we had thought we could get that, like say, in the next 6 months or so, to a place where we could put it out for bids, that we would have the covenants recorded on it. The developer could come in and buy a section of that. That would be, you know, I think on the latest map, it would be like tract 4 or something like that. One of the tracts that would have like 50 some lots in it, and they could start developing that, put in the roads. And what we found the biggest problem is getting a sewer system to work. Like where we had initially thought, you know, there's a lift station down, right by Jacobs Welding. And that would be a logical place to gravity feed everything down to that lift station. And I think the sanitary district is saying that lift station, I guess we didn't know that, it's 50 years old and it's kind of at capacity. So it would take a substantial upgrade there. Now, at some point, somebody might upgrade that. They might upgrade that At that point, it might be game on for the rest of this, but for right now, we don't have a place to go with that. So where we've pivoted a little bit is, okay, we can't, we can do what we can do to get the big thing platted and kind of ready for a developer. But with that big utility issue, I don't know if anybody's gonna bite on it right now, but we can kind of get it ready. And then in addition to that, there are some areas where we've got some lots that border an existing street. And some utilities are already there. So like along Greer Avenue, if we put some houses along there, and it's pretty steep, you go off that curb, and it's pretty steep down there. But there's already water running right along the curb. Okay, so water's right there. Could we perhaps get a sewer system to gravity flow down and connect at Mountain View down below there? And that's kind of, right now, what they're looking at some of the viability of that. And, it's, again, that's where you might get a little bit of pushback. Like, we kind of look at that as low hanging fruit, but that's where the next 5 years, you do one a year, you could get 5 houses in there, pretty decent houses. Maybe $500,000 a piece, over time. We're also looking at up towards the water tower up there. There's some area that we're looking at doing a preliminary, or doing a plat of one large lot that could house, that could hold 3 to 4. We're calling them tiny homes, but about 450 square feet, with a little garage with it. And those would be built by the school district. Could even be built as part of a building trades curriculum, like say do one a year on those. And those would have a shared septic system. And those could be, and they have really a beautiful view. But the idea would be like, if you have a young single teacher coming into the district, they can't find a place to live. Hey, we've got a place, really nice place, we rent you for, set amount, whatever it is, for a period of time. And I think that could be really an attractive drawing card, for those teachers. So anyway, that's kind of where the thing is at. And some of the next steps are getting those preliminary plats done, getting some of that ready, and then coming back to you guys. And I can give you a written summary of all this stuff. And I didn't want to print it out for you today at the meeting because, just quite honestly, I got pressed for time. And I didn't want to print out something that might have grammatical errors and just different things like that. So I can give you a summary here, in the next few days today.
Are any of the lots zoned multifamily?
No, but like some of that would be part of the plan. That's a good question. So, part of the master plan has that. And when you say, and I guess that maybe Amber could help with this a little bit. She's really savvy on the zoning stuff.
He dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's no zoning that would preclude like a multifamily thing. Like, I don't know that we're gonna go up there and build a big apartment complex. We might do like a duplex, triplex, fourplex, something like that, on some of those. And in the master plan, there is some of that already there. And like, there's, definitely some plan for like a townhome situation. So.
There have been conversations, I assume there have been conversations with the city of Lead as far as water.
Extensive, yeah, and water is no problem. There's plenty of water capacity there, because the water tank is up on Lost Irishman Road and
I guess my concern
runs
is,
down there.
would we be taking on that, responsibility for getting water where it needs to go, or would that be a city?
Well, it kind of depends what you're talking about. So with any of the utilities, and really the water is pretty cheap. The sewer is the bigger concern. Okay, but with any of that, so like if we're gonna build a house on Greer Avenue, for instance, and the school's building it, we're gonna own it and we're gonna rent it to a teacher, maybe a principal, something like that. yeah, if we're building that, we would be responsible for running that from where it is now to the house.
Right, and that's not the situation I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of.
Yep, the big development, that would be on the developer. We've got language in the covenants that also spell that out, that the developer would put in such infrastructure to serve all of the lots in that development. Yeah, that's a good question. And then, like the folks at the city of Lead, like for sure the city employees. And I would say to a large degree, the council and the zoning board, they all seem pretty amenable to it. There are some questions, some concerns. Like I say, the people that maybe raise objections are people who live right by. That's pretty typical, that we all would like to have an unobstructed view and not have any neighbors, no close neighbors. I get that. And I think it's important throughout this thing that the school district tries to be good neighbors. People, at some point, we might do something that not everybody loves. But we're not out to just ruin anybody's day either. That makes sense. Any other questions on this?
I think you got it on.
Okay, sorry, I know it sounds like a ramble and that's true, it's fair, but there's just a lot. A lot going on, so, okay, that's all I have.
That's all?
It was pretty short, except for the one item,
Yeah.
the one item. Okay.
So food service, Sherry.
Oh my gosh, I have so much to talk about.
Oh,
Just
I'm so
kidding. Just a few things. It's been going so good. I love my job over there. It's so fun. It's gotta be the funnest place because I don't have to teach them to be smart or anything. I just feed them. And everybody likes to eat. Yes, yes. And, has been a few things. I'm sure you guys have heard about like trying to get everybody to fill out the, free and reduced forms. And so we tried that at the beginning of the year, trying to kind of take the stigma out of it, try to just get everybody to fill it out. And we did get a lot of forms. We don't know what the whole end thing will be yet till the end of October, and then it'll kind of all come together. But I think we did a pretty good job. We got a lot more applications than we have in the past, but we'll see how that all turns out. I've gotten a lot of compliments. I haven't heard anything bad yet, but I'm open to that too. If anybody hears any bad stuff, let me know. I'll try to change it. We do have, our numbers are up. Considering that our enrollment is down, we do have more kids eating. What else? We have some new stuff that I'm trying. We do have a day that the chefs have a choice. And that meaning like if the kids come up to me and say, are we ever gonna have this that's not on the menu, I can put that in. Or like if I need to get rid of something or there's a sale on something, I can do that. And I did put out where the kids can pick a choice. I put out little slips and let them sign up for something that they wanted to have. And I put that on the menu for their favorite, and I'm gonna do it down at the elementary also. And what else do I have? I've got, my little junior chef program is gonna be starting. The teachers get to pick who is, up on their grades or has good behavior or however it works, and they're gonna get to come and help out in the kitchen. And I'm also doing a lunch leader, inviting someone from the community to come in and help serve lunch and see what we're doing. I think my first person is gonna be Dr. Pearson's gonna come down to the elementary and serve so that the kids, some of them already know him, before I bring in someone else, like the mayor or, the president of the school board or the vice president or, so you guys can come in and see what we're all doing. My favorite thing, and I don't know if you guys have walked through the lunchroom. I tried to make it a little homier and, you know, cause that's their fun time to kind of relax and visit with their friends and, you know, that kind of thing. And I do have pictures of my lunch on my phone, so anybody can look at it if they want. And my new microgreens, not everybody knows what they are, so I brought some tonight, so you guys can try them and take them home, the leftover ones. Cause I know some of you know what they are. They sell them at Lynn's and all over the place. And there's a little QR code that you guys can take a picture of but everyone should try them. They're so fun. And we put them in the salads, we put them in our wraps, and this is what they look like. They have what they are.
Is this all the varieties you've had?
The varieties that I serve, yes. And like, she brought these on the 8th, and look at them. They're fun, and they taste so good. There's pea shoots, there's, cabbage, broccoli. This is the kids' favorites, and I serve them at the elementary too. And I'll just, open them up and you guys can try them. Sunflowers are their favorite.
That's my favorite.
That is the kids' favorite. Broccoli, what's the other one? Cabbage. But look at them. They're so fun.
So you get these from the people in Deadwood?
Yeah, they grow them right out here on Two-Bit.
Yeah.
Look at how cute. And I've got little, containers and you guys can.
And she puts them in everything.
Yeah, everything. What did you want
And the
to-
kids love it. Kids
I'll
love
do
it.
The kids love them. Like the elementary kids especially. We put them out, they'll take them all.
If you had one that tasted like pizza in the middle school.
Oh, yeah, they put them on top of the pizza and yes,
Those would be good on.
yeah,
Really good on pizza. They're good on hamburgers.
yes. And you know, some of the restaurants in town already serve them. And the ones that weren't found out that we were serving them at the school and they're doing it now too. So yeah, they're fun. There's one, yes. I'll try to smell them. I'm just gonna use the same.
Yeah, that looks easier than.
It does, with all the, I was just gonna
I'm gonna
let,
give you a hand.
yeah, you do it
I'll
too.
come and.
You guys try to figure out what they are. You can just reach in and grab and then you guys can take them home tonight, what's left. Cause I'm gonna get, another batch. But I was like, I always talk about these and I know some of you have never tried them.
I've tried them.
Yes. I got samples this summer and yeah, right outside of town, it's, is it Dan Ulmer? Some of you guys know them. I'm dropping them all over the place. But it's fun.
Hugo, you're feeding us.
I know.
Yeah.
We're serving.
I was, oh, and the other thing, us lunch ladies have bragging rights. We got, best overall float at the homecoming.
It was pretty amazing.
The chicken flow.
Yeah, the chicken float.
That's pretty cool.
I asked Sherry to wear a chicken outfit.
But I was gonna wear that
For the board-
tonight.
Board meeting. I don't need it. No, I'm.
I was gonna come in wearing that.
Then Sarah would have had to take a picture and put her in
Yes.
the paper.
Well. Yeah, I'm serving salad tonight. So when everybody comes in with the cookies and the donuts and I come in with the microgreens.
Yeah. Now, this is also leading to discussions about potential future things with microgreens.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
too. I should have
yeah.
brought that up.
Ooh, that
We
looks
wanna do like,
Greenhouses.
greenhouses.
Stuff like that. right?
Yes,
Was that radish in there or something?
There's a radish.
yes.
Yeah.
I
that
don't know
was
if you
my-
have.
Can
that
you,
one.
yes, they are. And then you don't even need to put dressing on your salad, because it's got such flavor.
It's under there anyway.
I don't.
Excellent. It's right there.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be growing microgreens in your classrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. so
I said.
Shades. Well, if nobody's gonna take them, I'll take them.
think I had.
Mr. Beagle.
You're the middle schooler that needs
He's
to
right.
be like, represent the student body.
She says, right, mom makes her eat them every day.
They are.
All right, that'll go good if I gum.
Mr. Beagle eats them all the time.
Gonna tell me one in your body.
Jay says her mom makes her eat them every day.
Does he?
That's
Very good.
Good mom.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Goodness, and I thought I dropped enough. And share. Somebody can have the whole thing.
Here, maybe like hit Tony there, so I think we'll be in good shape.
All right. I'll wheel them over here.
That's
They're really
good.
good burger.
They actually do really good on
It's
it.
all at home, you're like, what are those?
Do a little-
And then wraps.
Chicken wraps. Oh, yeah, very
But you guys do that QR code and you can see the nutritional value in those
Right.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like, did you have one?
Good. Did you get?
They're delicious.
Deep fat, right?
Oh, also, we got 100% on our first, inspection at the high school. Not super proud of it. I think that's about it. Oh, and I kind of named the, lunchroom or both lunchrooms. I've been kind of calling it the Digger Diner or Digger Dining. So if you see that around, it's kind of it. But I've been having a blast. So any ideas you guys have, send them my way. I love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
If you have any questions.
Amber, can I just report on something? Bruce Hens is going to start, the audit early. We have already sent him reports. They're not on site yet. They're still being, juggling between different entities. So he didn't want to come tonight because he said hopefully at the next meeting, he will come in. Oh, like I said, I have been submitting, reports and stuff. So they are working on it off site. And he will be here soon. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Kids are good. Okay, public forum. Sarah, did you have questions?
I did, but my phone died, so I wouldn't be able to record what you told me anyway.
You can write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's recording, Sarah.
So, so what would be a time frame, I guess, that you would take those overdue large balances to court? So really, it's a two-part question. So
Yeah.
what would be the time frame? And then secondly, what would be the balance that would make the court costs worth the effort?
Well, I think it would be small claims court, so I think the cost there is pretty low. And I struggle to answer this because obviously you're doing your job, you're gonna print the answer in the paper. But I don't want it to come across like, we're not really gonna do anything, you know what I'm saying? So I think it would have to be fairly egregious. Like, we don't have a set threshold. But again, if it is in the upper hundreds of dollars into the thousands of dollars, and they're just making no effort to whittle it down, then it might be a situation. But again, if these people are at all willing to work with us, our past practice has always been to be pretty forgiving and work with them. And, we've had people that say, oh, yeah, like, I just started a new job, I'll get paid next month, I can send you $50, and then we'll kind of go from there. And then they don't do it, and you wait a couple months, you call them, they're like, oh, well, like it kind of goes through a lot of that stuff. That's not a real concise answer, but yeah, at the end of the day, we're a school district serving families, and we're not leg breakers. So we really try and work with people. That answered your question or not?
I think as much as you're going to.
Anyone out there that wants to donate, make sure you can.
Right, well, that was something I was wondering too, is if efforts could be increased to try and raise funds for those overdue balances in the community.
I like Tim said, before Jackie Pearson, wrote a story on the amount of delinquent meals. And honestly, within the last couple of weeks, we had a former employee here and her birthday wish was to have the people donate to Angel Fund. So we did receive about, 4 or 5 checks to go to the Angel Fund. So, and the person that asked me, she goes, can I share this? And the superintendent, and he said, of course. So I don't know if it went on Facebook or what. So I do know it was shared.
Yeah.
Eric, I believe it was you and I that had had a conversation a while back. I know for sure Amber Deers and I had this conversation too, about, different community-based options as well. And this was long before this policy came up. This would probably been last spring that we had the conversation just about, community members who do want to give back and how can they potentially do that. And I've had those conversations just through my own work. About not only my particular work, but also I've specifically brought up issues like this. I have not used our district as the example, but I mean, this isn't something that's unique to us. And so this is something that I've had those conversations with other organizations in our area. And it is something that would be able potentially. Whether or not people would choose to, come forward and assist with it, I don't know. That's up to them.
And a couple weeks ago, I did get from Northern Hills Federal Credit Union, they gave us a donation.
Could you ask for some of the parking funds from Deadwood?
I don't know that you could, because I'd have to go look at it again, but I do believe I think you have to be you have to be a nonprofit. I think you have to be a nonprofit, to qualify for those funds.
Anything else?
No. I'm done now.
Well, thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? No? Our next meeting will be Tuesday, November 11th at 5:30. In the boardroom. And
More recognized shade before.
Oh, yes. So, Shay Allen, you are our new, are you our new
Is the
student
student rep?
representative? Sweet. Well, wonderful that you're here. Thank you for coming.
Is it okay if she shares an exciting bit of news?
Yes.
Go ahead, Sheila.
Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
so at the end of this month, I'm going to Washington DC because I'm the South Dakota State representative on the National Student Council Board. So it'll be like a bunch of people from all the different states and we're all going to Washington DC and we have a bunch of meetings and things. One of the days we're spending at Capitol Hill and then there's another guy from Sioux Falls who's going. So he'll do a meeting with my grounds and then I have one with John Thune and we're basically trying to push for the same funding for public schools in South Dakota. So we're doing that, and then we also have just a bunch of speakers and stuff, and that's at the end of this month.
Very good.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Make sure to tell them where you are in Deadwood.
Okay, anything else? Okay. And
Motion to adjourn.
second. Oh, baby. Hi.